I have been so happy with my returns from YMAX so far, and I know a lot of you guys have been as well. Since tracking it in the weekly dividend ETF account, which is a playlist I have on here if you're interested, it has been outperforming all the others. So I'm very, very excited to make this video. We're going to go over all of the dividends and the total dividend yield I've received since owning this ETF. Now, YMAG has been doing well also, so there'll be a video coming out about the returns on that one, but YMAX has been king in the portfolio as of our last update on that account. So we're going to go over a couple things today. I'm not going to dive too far into YMAX. I'm sure most of you are familiar with it. And if you've seen my other videos, you're very familiar with it. We're going to go over the dividends it's been paying out. We're going to see how consistent it's been. And then we're going to throw all of this into a calculation and using our new dividend tracking spreadsheet that is available to you guys. If you are interested, we're going to throw all the information in there and find out how much money we're making just off of YMAX and how it's been performing. So if you're interested in dividend ETFs, in any sort of ETF, really, stocks, investments, all that kind of stuff, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Helps me out a bunch, helps grow the channel. We did surpass our 4,000 subscriber mark, which I'm so grateful to you guys for. I can't even believe it. It really is amazing. So thank you guys so much for that, and let's jump into the data. So one thing I want to note with the dividends is we did see a huge dividend from YMAX recently. This was the most recent one that paid out on the 28th of November, and it was a 31-cent dividend, which is astronomical. Biggest one so far. Since then, I mean, this one just keeps paying out more and more dividends. And what I like about YMAX as well is because it's such a large fund and it holds so many different things. It does hold some Bitcoin, I believe, and so it has been running. We can see the price here. Ever since going weekly, we've seen the shift. Since going weekly, the price has been better. We've seen less NAV erosion. We've seen higher dividends, a better yield. And so I'm very, very happy with how this one has been performing. And I've said that over and over and over again. So we can see it's been, since going weekly, we had 22 cents, 22 cents, 21 cents, 20 and a half, 17 and a half, 22.7, 22 and a half, 12, 15, 24, and now we're up to the 30. So this is our first time since going weekly that we have seen a 30-cent dividend. Now, just to point this out, when it was paying monthly, it was paying out on the low end 60-cent dividends, 50 to 60. So now we are weekly, so we're getting 4 times the number of dividends, and they're only half of what it was when it was monthly. AKA, we've doubled our return since it went from monthly to weekly, or we're doubling our dividends, I should say, not total return. This is phenomenal. I'm very, very happy to see this. And on top of that, the price appreciation of this fund has been good. People are enjoying it. It's getting a lot. The AUM has grown. It's doing so much better because people are interested in the weekly dividend ETFs. And so what I'm hoping with this is that we see more of these in the future. I want to see more dividend ETFs coming out, but I want to see more weeklies as well because people like it. People want it, obviously. And so the Roundhill really did lead the way with that. YieldMax is following, and Defiance, although it has been struggling, I think it is still growing in popularity. Now, all of these use different types of option calls, and so it's important to know the differences in those if you're looking to invest in all of them or in some of them. As you guys know from my account, the Defiance have underperformed. Roundhill has been really consistent and solid, and the YieldMax have been just outperforming everything. So with that being said, we're going to jump into the new spreadsheet that I had created for the channel and just check all of our data. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a rundown. So I did have this created for the channel. I did not do this. I'm not good at this, and they did a remarkable job. I'll just say that. So there's some tabs down here. A few things I have to update. I haven't put in all the data. The portfolio value is wrong. Our monthly dividends are interesting because I haven't put in all of the dividends so far. So we can see positions, diversification, and dividend log, as well as sold positions, watch list, monthly data, annual data, a bunch of stuff in here. So we can see I put in only 1 month for YMAG, and I put in both months for YMAX. And so we have seen $7.21 in dividends from YMAX for this channel since I bought it. The purchase date was October 2. So I have that. It's all on Moomoo. I have it recorded. If you want to pull, I'll pull that up if you guys are interested. But that's when I purchased everything. I have had a few accusations that I'm adding money to the account. I promise that I am not, because that would destroy the whole point of the account in the first place, is to see how these actually perform. And so with all that being said, we're going to go back to our positions tab, and we can see everything right here. YMAX is our bottom position. So I have 5.04 shares since I started with drip. I did turn drip on, not from the beginning because I didn't know. It's kind of funny how drip works on Moomoo, but now we have drip on, and so I'm accumulating more and more shares. Every time we see the dividend, it gets paid out. So this has overall day change. It pulls all the information from Seeking Alpha, and I really like how this one has turned out. If you guys can see all the areas in yellow, you have to put in. You have to figure all this out. So there is some data you have to fill out. It's not fully automatic, and you do have to input in all the dividends because it can't manually pull that. It's just too difficult, and it's really crazy to try and add that, apparently. I thought it might be possible, but it's really, really unlikely. And so what we can see is we can see YMAX. We have our 5.04 shares at a total cost per share average of $17.57. Currently, the share price is $18.11. So sliding over to our right, we see all of our data, the day change, the 52-week low, which was 1570, the high, which was 2994, and then we see our market return. This is the amount that we have returned just in price value. Now, this is pretty crazy to me. And I'm going to do a ton of math on this one because we're calculating all these dividends and seeing what we've made. But just based off of price return from the market, from the share price going up, this is pretty insane. Our total return is $9.96. So because I plugged in all the dividends, this is telling us that our total return is 11.24%, which I love this spreadsheet because it makes it so easy. I've been doing all this math myself, and from here on out, I won't be. I will be using this spreadsheet because it is so much better, and I can calculate all the calculations I need to off of the data collected here. It pulls all the data from Seeking Alpha, and so I'm so happy with how this has turned out. And again, like I said, it's available on the channel for part of our channel membership package. I don't want to say how much money I spent on this because it took a long time to create and have all this stuff set up, and I'm still working out a few kinks. So there's a few people that I'm going to have test this out for me. If you're interested in testing this out with your portfolio, let me know. And the beauty of this is that you can have multiple files on the same thing. So we're going to have, this is one file. I'm going to leave this as the weekly tracking spreadsheet. I'm going to have another one that has all of my actual stocks from my investment account, from my personal account. That's going to be a whole nother spreadsheet. And then I'm going to put in any other challenges that we do from penny stocks. As long as Seeking Alpha has the tickers, they're available on here. And so I'm going to plug in all of these, and I'll be using this primarily from here on out because it's so much easier having all the data at once, and it calculates everything for me, and it's going to be more accurate than I am. I think I've done a decent job. You guys have been so kind talking about my math and me nerding out on the channel, especially with these the weekly dividends. But this is going to be a solid, more consistent way of doing it, and typically, I forget the way I do it, and I have to run a bunch of math, and it takes me a lot longer. So I am happy with how this one has turned out. So moving on, that 11.24% return is phenomenal. And we can go in here, we can change the sector, mess that up. We can change the sector. I'm just going to do ETF. And so that will actually change the diversification. It doesn't matter so much because all of these are ETFs, so the diversification doesn't matter to me in this account. But I do also love the 52-week range and how beautiful this looks. I don't know how they did this. I don't know if it was one or a couple people. I don't know how they're able to create this. It's crazy how good people can get with Excel. But we're going to run two different calculations on this right now. So I'm going to calculate our return just based off the market value, then our return just based off of the dividends, and then we'll calculate the yield that we've seen so far with all the dividends, which is going to be super, super cool. So starting off, we see, I already mentioned this, we have a return of $2.75 from an initial investment of $88.55. So I'll pull up our calculator. And so we're going to divide 2.75 by 8855. And we're going to multiply this to get a percentage, multiply it by 100, and we can see a return of 3.1%, which this one was a little bit easier to do mentally. We're almost to 100, so you can assume $2 is going to be roughly a little more because we're a little bit under 100. If that makes sense in your brain, it makes sense in mine. But so we have a 3.1% return just based off of price appreciation. And this is just in 2 months, right? So we've only had 2 months, 2 solid months of dividends. So we can actually multiply this by 6 to get a rough estimate. If it were to continue at this rate, we would have an 18.6% return, not including the dividends. Okay, think about this. Not including dividends, you would out average the S&P 500 just on your invested capital. So this is what is insane to me, and this is why this if it is able to continue, and I'm not sure it will be able to. I don't know. The popularity is increasing. There's so many good things happening with this fund, but this is insane. What this means is that you could yield an 18.5% return on your capital without any dividends. If this was just a normal ETF, people would be flocking to it. I mean, YieldMax is putting out funds that are trying to average 20% a year without dividends, and this one is doing it with dividends. So this is like the retirement dream. Imagine if you could yield 10 to 15% in dividends and 18.5% in price return, meaning your overall account is growing and you're still getting weekly income from the fund. So you could live off of this while getting your payments increasing every single year. Like, that's crazy to me. And I don't think people really understand the potential if this is able to carry this out. Like, it is wild. Okay, so I'm going to jump back into our dividend log. And so we can see we have $7.21 in dividends. So I'm going to pull the calculator back up. And so we're going to take 7.21 and we're going to divide this by our 8855. And then we're going to multiply that by 100 because it's a percentage. We need a percentage. And you're looking at an 8% return in 2 months. 8%. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Is this possible? Is this accurate? It is accurate. Because from the math I've already done, this has already yielded me over 10% combined since I purchased it in the weekly dividend ETF account. This is crazy. Like, this is something that I have never seen before, and that's why I am skeptical. I'm not saying it is going to continue these returns up. I hope that it is. I truly hope that it is, and I will put a significant portion of my portfolio into it if it can continue this trend, but I don't know. And we also don't know how it will perform in a bear market. We haven't seen it return in a bear market because there hasn't been a bear market, really. So I'm curious what you guys think. Drop a comment down below on you think of the future of YMAX. Can it keep these returns up? Because, again, I don't know. And so what we're going to do now, let's calculate all of our returns. So actually, wait, no. I missed a step, right? Because this is just for the 2 months. So we're going to take this number and we're going to multiply it by 6 because we've had 2 months. There's 12 months in a year. And you have a 48.85% return. This is an annual return based off the percentage rates that we've seen in the account. Now, I know people can get upset about, oh, if you don't actually own this much, or some people say with like my $1,000 or my $10,000 invested videos, why does it matter? It's all hypothetical. This is not hypothetical. This is based off of hard data collected from me owning the fund. All right. So before anyone says, oh, it's not realistic, it's not possible, it has already happened in these last 2 months. Like, again, we are speculating based off of this return that it will continue this rate, and we don't know. But this is evidence. I already have evidence that it is returning an 8% return just off the dividends, plus a what did I say, 3% return on price action. So it's happening. It is happening. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to do our total return. Okay, I had to pause. I had to do some math. 3.1 plus 8.14. This is our yield so far, 11.24%. And I believe that's actually what it says. Yes, 11.24%. See, guys, I'm not bad at math. I promise. It really depends on the day. But we have an 11.24% return total. We see it was $3.01, or this is percentage, 3.1% from price action and 8.14% from the dividend for 2 months. For 2 months. So we are yielding over 5% a month between the two of these. But for 2 months, we're going to take this again and we're going to multiply it by 6 because this should be our yearly return if it continues this trend. You are looking at a 67.44% return between price action and dividend for the year. This is unheard of. I don't know how this is happening. The dividends are growing too. They're getting better. So if the dividends continue, even if it trades sideways, like if the dividends continue at this rate and price action falls, you are still making an insane return year over year. You're still yielding nearly 50% if the price action stays consistent. But even then, let's say we see a little bit of NAV erosion, which we haven't seen. I'll admit we have not seen it. I've been watching it. It's the point of this account to track the NAV erosion. We have not seen any. Let's see we start seeing 10% NAV erosion a year, which is still, it's not aggressive. It's very possible. You are still yielding just based off the dividend alone. you are still yielding 38%. You're still making 40% ROI, return on your investment, with NAV erosion. And we have no proof of NAV erosion so far with these funds. So it really does blow my mind. The potential with these are crazy. At this point, I'm actually going to stop filming and purchase some YMAX and YMAG today because I only have some in this account and I've been waiting to buy in, but I'm done waiting. The prices look good. The return is insane. Let's see how this does in my actual portfolio. Now, that's not telling you to buy any. I'm just saying what I'm doing. I'm not a professional and this is not financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes only. And I'm entertained, but again, I'm making the content. So I want to know what you guys think about YMAX and YMAG down below. Which is your favorite? Are you going all in with any of these? I've seen some people saying they're going all in, and I don't recommend all the eggs in one basket kind of thing, but I do want to know what you guys are doing. As always, don't forget to check out the free Discord. Check out this spreadsheet if you are interested in becoming a channel member. It helps support me and do these channel challenges, which I always appreciate. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.